Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Elise. Welcome. I'm so excited to have you. Today I'm going to be doing a video featuring two cards made with the same background stamp, but that look a little bit different. And if you're like, Elise, these are Christmas cards and it's now January, I'm really excited because this year I am actually participating in Get Crackin' on Christmas. Jen Shirkus, who I'm sure that you are all familiar with, started this about 4 years ago as a way to make Christmas cards year round. We all buy so many Christmas stamps and we don't always have the chance to use them all. And so this was a way to kind of kill two birds with one stone. One, you get to use all of the products that you've purchased. And two, at the end of the year, you end up with all these Christmas cards. So each month they do this on the third Thursday of the month, and I'm really excited to get to participate this year as an ambassador. Like I mentioned, a big part of Get Crackin' on Christmas is that we all have products that we maybe didn't get a chance to use during the holiday season. I, for one, fell in love with this release from Concord and 9th, and then didn't get a chance to use them this Christmas. So, perfect opportunity. I'm going to be using them today on my card. By the way, all of the products that I am using are linked down below. I'm going to start off by stamping that background stamp. So I have got some Concord and 9th wheat cardstock, which is just a craft cardstock, in the matching ink cube. When Concord and 9th released their inks earlier, I guess early 2020, I bought all the ink cubes, because in my mind, that was a way to justify buying more inks. This is the first time I'm using this stamp, so I need to go over this a few times. It does look a little bit splotchy right now, but once this dries, it does settle into the paper quite nicely. Also, these little ink cubes are so juicy. They're filled with so much ink, so keep that in mind too. So I've got the one that is craft on craft. And then I also did one that was red on white. So this is the cranberry ink cube from Concord and 9th. And I went ahead and stamped that one down a couple of times too. This is definitely the traditional candy stripe that they probably thought people would go for when they purchased this stamp. But this is definitely a background stamp that you could use year round. It's not necessarily really holiday in my mind. While I have my MISTI out, I'm just going to do the bulk of the stamping that I need to do. So in that Peace on Earth stamp set, there are a ton of little like branches and flowers and different things that you can use to complete your card. And I just went ahead and stamped this because I'm going to be building a wreath. So I go ahead and I use a few different shades of green and then that cranberry color again. I do go ahead and prime these with a dry cloth because it's the first time I'm using these images. I really recommend doing that so that you get the best impression possible. So the inks that I'm using are Parsley, Clover, Evergreen, and again, that cranberry for the poinsettia flower. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp these out. I stamp these kind of more, that thicker leaf with the parsley, that one little kind of like mistletoe sprig with the evergreen, and those more twig branch like things, I don't know, with clover. And then, like I said, the poinsettia and the red. And I go ahead and I repeat this 4 times. So I flip it over and then I do it for a second panel too. Also, while I've got my MISTI out, I'm stamping that Peace on Earth with the Midnight ink cube. So getting a lot of mileage out of these ink cubes today. coming up here, you might see a shift a little bit in the video, also in what I'm wearing. I did all of this stamping one day and then completed the cards another day, kind of left my project going. So apologies for the discrepancies, I guess. So here you can see I've got that panel, and I've just got some of these waffle flower A2 layers rectangles, and I'm going to use the second largest rectangle to die cut out from this background piece that I stamped. And then I'm going to go ahead and take some liquid glue and just go around and kind of make a little wreath. I did play with this before I glued down, so I knew pretty much where these were going to go. These larger sprigs are actually kind of perfect to make the start of your wreath. So if you are like me, I look at stamp sets like this all the time, and I just am like, I'm going to build a wreath with that. That's just something I gravitate towards. I've got many other videos on this channel where I do something similar. So I'm just going around and building this out. While I'm doing that, I do want to tell you a little bit more about Get Cracking on Christmas if you are unfamiliar. So like I said, this is hosted by Jen Shirkus. So on her blog, she'll link to everybody who is participating. And then really fun this year, she's going to do lives. So that way you can see how she made her projects, which I think is going to be really, really fun. And like I said, it is the third Thursday of each month. So those lives that she's going to do are over on Facebook. So it's fun to watch somebody create and then kind of craft with them. So I highly encourage you to do that if you are interested in doing that. And then if you want to join us and also get moving on your Christmas cards, I know it just seems crazy. We just took down our trees and all of our holiday decorations. But if you don't start making the cards now, it just seems like by the time November rolls around, I don't know about you guys, I never have enough time to make all of the cards that I want to make and use all the products that I want to use. So it's great that we, can make them year round, I think, and just get a head start. So I highly encourage you to participate with us. Be sure to use the hashtag Get Cracking on Christmas so that we can see your posts on Instagram and kind of see what you're creating as well. So this is really, really fun. I look forward to sharing with you guys. I think there'll be a number of different projects that I share this year. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw I made a lot of plush ornaments and literally sat in front of the TV every night in November and December making these ornaments. And I have more that I'd like to make for people. So if you have an interest in that, I might show how I made those too. So stay tuned for that. Be sure that you subscribe so that you can see that video. But anyways, I've got this piece on earth. Very nice. The die set comes with the outline for this, and I'm just going to use foam tape to pop that up. Just get that right in the center. You'll notice I only used 3 of the poinsettias. I think things look better in odd numbers, so I didn't want to use 4 and make it totally symmetrical. I'll just save that other one for a future project. And then I'm going to go ahead and just glue this down onto an A2 size card base. I use a Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 110 pound for my card bases. And that completes the first card. So for the second card, I already have my background done, but I need to do some additional stamping. So I've got my MISTI out again. And on black cardstock, this is Lawn Fawn's Black Licorice. It's my favorite black cardstock. I've got from that stamp set, Have a Merry Little and then Christmas. And here I'm just making sure it's all lined up. I will get that set into my MISTI. Take my anti-static powder bag. coat that cardstock, which will prevent any loose stray embossing powder from sticking where I don't want it to stick. And then I like Versamark ink for my heat embossing. And I'm going to be using Hero Art's white embossing powder. And that way I can get a really nice crisp white on this black, and it will really pop off of that bright red background. I knew I didn't want something that was going to compete horrendously with that red background, so I thought black and white would work really well. So just one stamp and I've got that really nice. It's nice when you do black on white on film, because you can at least see it. You can see right there where the Versamark, that sticky ink is, that's going to allow me to add that embossing powder. I've got my embossing powder in one of those little sandwich containers by Sistema, and I've got a little bead tray in there to scoop up the powder with. I find that that's the fastest way to get coverage. Just going to go ahead and coat that, tap off the excess, and then I'm going to go ahead and heat set that embossing until it is nice and melted and you can no longer see the grainy texture. Once I've got that done, I'm going to use that same rectangle from before, run that through my Gemini Junior die cutting machine. And then I can go ahead and make little strips from the cardstock. So I'm just making little sentiment strips here. Not 100% perfect, but this is just the easiest way for me. My trimmer has a little wire so I can see exactly where I'm going to cut. You could just leave it like this, but I thought it would be more interesting if there was something else going on. So I took some sprigs from that floral number 4 die set from Concord and 9th and some Parsley cardstock from Concord and 9th. I'm just going to use foam tape to pop up that sentiment. I'm going to get that set, and then I'm going to adhere down those leaves. I'm using my T-ruler here just to make sure that this is straight and centered, that Christmas. And then once I have that straight, I know I can place that Have a Merry Little right above it. By the way, this portion of the video is sped up just so you don't have to watch so much of me doing this. I'm just going to use that same liquid glue and adhere that down. I'm using my reverse tweezers just to hold it. And I'll kind of tuck these little sprigs behind the sentiment strips. Once I have that done, I am just going to adhere this down again using liquid glue to another A2 card base. And just like that, it's January and I already have 2 Christmas cards complete. Obviously, I will end up needing a lot more than 2, but this gets me someplace. It's a place to start. So I hope that you join us this year for Get Cracking on Christmas. More details about this fun challenge, I guess you could call it, is down below in the description box, along with all of the products that I used today to make this video. If you are new here, I'd love it for you to stick around. Go ahead and subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up to let me know that you really like watching Christmas videos. And I will catch you in the next one. On the screen here are more videos that you can watch from me if you want to keep going with your crafty inspiration. Thank you so much for watching.